Even better than movies and television for getting into the act is your local pinball parlor. It provides an endless variety of harmless fun.
Ever since the beginning of video games, it's been intended to be harmless fun, a way to get together with friends and have fellowship with each other. People used it as a way to temporarily escape from the struggles of reality and to relax their mind. Back then, games such as Pong and Space Invaders were popular. These were very simple games which featured two-dimensional graphics and no colors. As time progressed and technology evolved, so did the games. One of the biggest impacts was Pac-Man, a game developed by Namco and first released in Japan as Pac-Man in May 1980. This revolutionized the industry as it contained colors, and nowadays, it is regarded as one of the classics. Another game which had a huge impact is Super Mario Bros. It was developed by Nintendo and released in Japan in 1985. This was an improvement from Pac-Man as the levels, colors, and gameplay were much more advanced and innovative at the time. Both these games showed the advancement and how violence gradually made its way into mainstream games. The next era of video games started during the 2000s. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas is an action-adventure video game developed by Rockstar North, which was released on 2004 and was an instant hit the day it came out. It reflected and promoted many explicit and violent features, especially to a younger audience.
Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. They can carjack vehicles, they run down pedestrians, they do drive-by shooting, even pick up, can't even whisper that word, and so on and so on. And it's terrible. They desensitize the gamers to those reality.
The next big hit was Mortal Kombat Armageddon, released in 2006. The main focus of the game was violence, pure violence. You got to play as a character and versus other characters trying to kill them. An example of the violence in the game are the fatalities. These were the finishing moves in which the victor inflicts a brutal and gruesome execution on the defeated opponent. An example of this is the character Liu Kang, in which he pulls ribs out of his opponent and ends off by ripping their head off.
So studies were done about 7,000 people who played Mortal Kombat. Is that another game that you guys know? And experienced actually heightened effect of feelings of hostility. There's a lot of research done. Another one, gamers and non-gamers. There were some people, they did the research with non-gamers, people who don't play games. But then when they participated in this research, so the non-gamers played some games based on the research. Guess what happened? Even the non-gamers were affected by as close as almost half, 38%. 38% of the respondents who were originally non-gamers were actually became more violent, and you know, so that's a lot. Yeah, so that's in terms of research, there's compelling evidence of the negative effects of violence. Yeah. Okay.
Skipping to present times, Grand Theft Auto 5 is an extremely popular game among teenagers and younger children. The whole idea of the game is to rebel against the government and to break the law. It contains even harsher language than the prequels, and the sex scenes are even more realistic. You can even receive a private lap dance in the strip club.
What long-term effects do violent video games have on minds?
Wow, that's a very, very important question. Okay, the first one, I think we heard today even suggestion from Dr. Fiona Woods. You know how she mentioned that, and the next forefront is that, how the brain, you can think positively about the brain and then actually bring about healing. Okay, um, this is the neural pathways. Okay, the neural pathways in our brains affect how a young person thinks, how we feel, how we act over time, and this basically gets ingrained in our brain. So in other words, if you have violence that you're thinking about, and that basically set your neural pathways, basically you are almost setting in concrete in a way how a person thinks, and your reaction becomes so quick and seems to be violence is the way, because that's the only way that your mind seems to be programmed to think. But the beautiful thing is that you actually can retrain your mind, okay, which is the next point. I talk about addiction. Another one, the long-term effect is addiction. You basically experience the adrenaline rush. Your serotonin get heightened. The serotonin, of course, the neurotransmitters in your brain get heightened. And then what happens is this: you need more dosages, heavier dosages, and you need more and more and more, and that leads into addiction. Because that's the feel-good phenomena. Because you feel good, you feel satisfied. That's why drug addicts go into that addiction. And so what happens? You get sucked into the cycle of addiction. Because why? The gamers, if they suck you in through rewards. You move from one level to the next level, and that's deeper into satisfying your desire for power or whatever. And then so the long-term effects, as I see it, therefore there's the need to break the cycle in order to fix it. And I'm sure you know that some parents actually in some countries, the children are so into addiction that they, young adults, after they finish school, they don't want to go to university, they drop out from uni, they spend hours 24/7 playing games, drinking coke, having their meal, their addiction. They can't get out of the room. So much so that parents have to send them to some boot camps. Have you heard of those boot camps? Yeah. All right. In order to break the addiction, so that in those boot camps, they got no technology at all, no phones, nothing, and do physical exercises and all that in order to break the addiction. It can be that bad, So with the long-term effect, I talk about how the brain can actually be retrained. And I do teach a little bit about in psychology, the wonder of the brain. There's this principle called neuroplasticity of the brain. It's almost like plasticity. That means the brain can actually reform its neural pathways, and therefore you can rethink, you can break the habit. So there are new neural pathways that can be formed over time. And then I think the other long-term effect is the antisocial bit, because you are so isolated, you're cut off from the world, and so you even talk to people from other gamers in international, cut across boundaries. It's like virtual reality. There's a lack of social skills, understanding people, of course, depression and all those effects. Escapism, virtual world that they think about the character you can be. You got a new name, or it's unreal. It's escapism.
This shows the progression of violence in video games and how they have come to become a cause of violence, especially among teenagers and children.
My name's Buntaboo, and I'm an addicted gamer.
What do you mean?
When I wake up, play games, eat breakfast, eat some more food, play more games, eat dinner, then go to sleep. Life's good.
Where do I begin? The fact that it's so fat it needs 2 seats to sit on? Or the mental issue where it actually cries in his sleep all night. Like, we can't even sleep, but the neighbours actually called 000 on us. They thought someone was actually dying. I don't know. His attitude has changed a total 360 degrees. He's so aggressive. And he's just so antisocial, he doesn't talk to us anymore. He's brought dishonour to the family and our family name. I think I'd rather not have a son anymore. He seems to never leaves the room. All he does is play games all day and night. I never even see him anymore. I don't even know if he's alive.
Next time you let your kids touch the controller or open up that game, think of their future. The threatening repercussions of these violent video games are too risky, and it is starting to get out of hand. Imagine your child grown up and not have a job and a family, perhaps even depressed, lonely, and suicidal. All of this could have been avoided with just one decision you could have made: to not let them play that single game.